Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
You're listening to Radio Lewis, where the music matters. Welcome to the Slightly Different Radio Show. I'm Nick Cooper, your Corona Chorale choralling curator, with some music to distract you from the current situation. As if. That T.S. Eliot chap may have been right about April being the cruelest month, but that's not going to stop me from indulging in music, the healing force of the universe, as probably top saxophonist Pharoah Sanders once observed. So let's ignore the technical difficulties of recording in an underground bunker and crack on with Cockney Rebel.
And stole them from our borders. We couldn't understand the villain's call. We'd often recall the beginnings. We'd often try in vain to change it all. We couldn't help but keep ourselves from sinning. It was summer, or maybe spring, or maybe spring, or maybe spring. Oh, let them come running and take all your money and hide away. Let them come running and take all your money and flee. Let them come running and take all your money and hide away. Hide away. Hide away. It was summer or maybe spring, I can't remember. It was summer or maybe spring, I can't recall. Tried to always come earnest, but always we did seem to fall. We never tried to tame the burning embers. It didn't seem to matter how we felt. It seemed we couldn't ever escape December. It was summer, maybe spring, or maybe spring, or maybe spring.
Cockney Rebel with Hideaway, the first track on their very first album. And alas, Hideaway is what most of us are doing. But that's no reason why we can't share the same therapist. Mine is music. Here is, or are, False Lights.
Rebellion learned this individual from its origin. It found its first value on the whole human race. I rebel, therefore I exist.
From their 2018 album Harmonograph, that was Babylon by False Light, one of the most exciting folk rock bands I've ever been fortunate enough to see. The links between tracks on this show are going to be even more feeble than usual, and I can only blame my producer for that. Oh damn, that's me, because my inestimable normal producer Ben, like all sensible folks, is observing social isolation. Hello Ben, if you're listening. If not, then a big hello to all the Bens out there in Radioland or Wirelessville or Podcast Heaven, or I think it's time for some smut.
1, 2. Marvellous dance. I wish you could see it. Oh, it's very breathless. One leg's up. Now the other. Now I'm doing the splits. Listen to the taps. They're marvellous. Now I think I better sing. Listen, chaps, you've often paused to wonder what made Miss Blank with Mr. So-and-so. To you it seemed a most amazing blunder. I'll whisper you the answer, then you'll know. Everyone's got sex appeal for someone, or many of us wouldn't be here. Even the GGs prove this rule. They're attracted by the donkey, or there'll never be a mule. Look at Queen Elizabeth, whose features quite appalled. The Virgin Queen, they called her, yet many she enthralled. And the Duke of Essex gave the lie to what she's always called. So she must have had some sex appeal for him. Sex appeal, some curse and others bless it. But whoever coined that hyphenated word would never say some do, some don't possess it. Such a statement would be obviously absurd. Everyone's got sex appeal for someone, or many of us wouldn't be here. Even the GGs prove this rule. Attracted by the donkey, or there'd never be a mule. There's the Indian damsel at a fair who wed a handsome swain. She's got the world tattooed all over her, which makes her very plain. But he's gone to live in India, although he's keen on Spain. So she must have had some sex appeal for him. For instance, there's a lovely girl on whom you've got a crunch, but she married someone undersized who looks like Mr. Punch, and they go to bed at 6 p.m. and don't get up till lunch, so he must have had some sex appeal for her. There's the shop girl working daily 9 to 6 without a rest. She married a night watchman at a jeweller's shop up west, so neither of them ever sees the other one undressed, but they must have had some sex appeal for each other. Everyone's got sex appeal for someone, or many of us wouldn't be here. Even the horses prove this rule. Attracted by the donkey, or there'd never be a mule. There's a little chap who married someone statuesque and grand. He's worn himself to ribbons, at least I understand, through climbing up to kiss her and sliding back to land. So she must have had some sex appeal for him. Vo-de-o-do, vo-de-o-do, there you are.
From 1933, that was Ronald Frankau and Monty Crick with Everyone's Got Sex Appeal for Someone. Ronald Frankau sold over 100,000 records in 1932. No small achievement in those days, considering that the BBC refused to play many of his songs, including the one I just played, Reckless Fool That I Am. And talking of reckless, the next track is the longest I've ever played on radio. Ooh, but I felt I couldn't edit it because it merits being heard in its full magnificent nuttiness. Prepare yourselves for Knut Reiersrud. I hope I've said his name right. Here we go.
each time I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me.
Norwegian blues guitarist Knut Reiersrud with I Don't Feel No Ways Tired, whatever that means. Mr. Reiersrud is an interesting fellow and has worked with musicians as diverse as David Lindley, the Blind Boys of Alabama, Ricky Lee Jones and Nina Hagen. There's also numerous collaborations with Middle East performers like Rima Bana and Marsha Vadat. Something a little lighter now, methinks. Here's Marie Wilson. That was the Neasden Queen of Soul, Miss Beehive herself, Marie Wilson, with Just What I Always Wanted. I was convinced that Marie Wilson was going to be a huge star. She had a great voice, a commanding stage presence and a splendid retro image. And she'll always have those things, not just the fame. Who is a fickle master, mistress, whatever. Let's follow Marie with a group who share the first two letters of her name. And no, it's not Marmalade. That was Magazine with a live recording of The Light Pours Out of Me. Originally I was going to play Magazine's version of Goldfinger as a tribute to the late great Honor Blackman, who I was astonished to hear was a Louisian resident. Since I played the original theme from The Avengers last month, here's another cover version of the song from the film with the same name. Here are Sharon Jones and the Dap-Kings.
Goldfinger, he's the man with the Midas touch, a spider's touch, such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web of sin, but don't go in. He'll pour in your ear, but his lies can't disguise what you fear. For a golden girl, know when he kissed her, it's the kiss of death from Mr. Goldfinger. Pretty girl, beware of his heart of gold. This heart is cold. For a golden girl knows when he kissed her, it's the kiss of death from Mr. Goldfinger. Pretty girl, beware of his heart of gold. This heart is cold. He loves only gold. Only gold. He loves only gold. He loves only gold. Only gold. He loves gold.
Shirley Bassey was the original, but Sharon Jones and the Dap-Kings make a pretty good job of Goldfinger, which I think featured on the soundtrack of the film The Wolf of Wall Street. I feel that I don't play nearly enough experimental klezmer music on this show, so I'll remedy that right now. Here are Hasidic New Wave. The Sacred Line from Hasidic New Wave, an experimental klezmer music group from downtown Manhattan, formed for the purpose of fusing Hasidic musical styles with elements of jazz, funk and avant-garde rock. Well, they seem to have nailed it. There are many different versions of this next song, and this is just one of them.
After morning there comes the evening, and after evening another day, and after old love there comes a new love. It is hard to keep those who will not stay. My love, he is the finest young man that ever nature framed all sunshine on. But how to save him, I do not know it, for he is sentenced or to be hung. As he walked out on the streets of Derry, I'm sure he marched outright manfully, being much more like some commanding officer than one to hang upon the gallows tree. But the very first step he put on the gallows, his blooming colour began to fade, and with bitter crying and tender sighing, is there no releasement from Derry jail? Whereas my love, she is so long coming, and what detains her so long from me? Or does she think it some shame or scandal for to see me hang upon the gallows tree? Well, he looked around and he saw her coming. She was riding faster than the wind. Stand back, you false prosecutors, for our bare releasement or from the king. And I made them see that they may not hang you, and I'll crown my love all in a gown of green.
From his excellent album Headcanon, that was English folk singer and bassist Tom, T-H-O-M, Tom Ashworth with Derry Jail. Do you know, another thing this show lacks is some decent Hawaiian music. I'm sure this will rectify that.
Aloha. sun pulls away from the shore and our boat sinks slowly in the west, we approach the island of Lulu, spelled backwards, ul. Ah, in the distance we hear Spike Jones and his wacky wackakins.
Irrepressible, and they did try, Spike Jones and his City Slickers with Tahu Wa Hawaii, Hawaiian war chant. There's a great deal I could tell you about Spike Jones and his City Slickers, but
Jumped
That was Wolf Alice with their 2013 song Bros, or possibly Bros. Wolf Alice are one of the many bands who have named themselves after short stories by Angela Carter. What do you mean you never heard of The Courtship of Mr. Lion, The Bloody Chamber, or The Tiger's Bride? Well, you will now, but not before I played a track by Hesperion 21. Early music group Hesperion 21 with Danse de l'Âme for Oud and Bendir. I had to look up bendir. A bendir, or bandir, is a North African wooden frame drum, and that's the educational section of the programme concluded. And without me offering a definition of Hesperian, but whilst we're talking about Africa, here are the Orchestra OK Jazz.
Bella muchacha, quisiera casarme porque es corazón, mi corazón. Oh, madre, yo te quiero, una bella muchacha, quisiera casarme porque es corazón, mi corazón. Balinga kiteo nakokaki komi boma setango yango atana mbeli awana linga kiyo tika tofana die nasala koboni liluka kingai anasina zui. Porque es corazón, quisiera casarme, porque es corazón, la rumba de mi vida, porque es corazón, María Valenta, porque es corazón, mi corazón, porque es corazón, la rumba calienta, porque es corazón, muchacha bonita, porque es corazón. Porque es corazón, la rumba de mi vida, porque es corazón, María Valenta, porque es corazón, mi corazón, porque es corazón, la rumba calienta, porque es corazón, muchacha bonita, porque es corazón. Oh, madre, yo te quiero, una bella muchacha, quisiera casarme porque es corazón, mi corazón.
The Orchestra OK Jazz with Mi Corazon. Founded in 1956 in what was then known as the Belgian Congo, the Orchestra OK Jazz became the TPOK Jazz, which is short for Tout Puissant Orchestre Kinshasa, which is all-powerful Kinshasa Orchestra, and they were. Just time for a few more songs before I fold up my tent and steal away into the night. Oh, hang on, I've got to stay here.
It was the strangest night, kind of scene I don't fit into. It didn't feel so right when she came back round, drifting across my sight, some apparition of make-believe. I felt my chest grow tight and I tumbled in. She said, hey baby, hold my hand out on the wire. Oh, I'm telling you the whole thing, it's just a breaking of desire. You'll inevitably hold on because you always do. Gotta walk that wire. save me from myself. I'm just a man, alright, and I'm fumbling with all this faded light. Maybe the moment to make my move. You hold your breath so tight as we tumble in. I said, hey baby, hold my hand out on the wire. I've been telling you the whole time, it's just the breaking of desire. Now I promise you'll be brave too, because you've earned that right. Gotta walk that wire. There's something in the air, right? Keep it steady as you walk away, and we're never gonna know, right? But it's better than the other way. And I said, hey baby, hold my hand out on the wire. See, I never would have held on without the aching of desire. No, there's heaven in a folk song, so just you hold on, because you're dancing on the wire. Alright.
From Australia, that was folk rock band Boy and Bear with Walk the Wire. Do you know, I've no idea why they're called Boy and Bear. I suppose I could find out. Or maybe I'll just play some Romanian brass band music. Romanian 12-piece Roma brass band Fanfare Ciocarlia with Dusty Road. Getting near the end of the show, but time for a few more. I think we'll just fit in the Arcs with Out of My Mind.
Good morning, children. Welcome to school.
But everything I lost to get it all out of my mind. But I made it out of my mind. I'm faded out of my mind. The ones I love have left my side out of my mind. But I made it, yeah. I'm old enough to know the game, but pushing buttons now is all that keeps me sane. What about tomorrow night? Maybe we could take too much and start a fight. Out of my mind. But I made it out of my mind. I'm faded out of my mind. The ones I love have left my side out of my mind. But I made it, yeah. Somebody help me now, because I don't know how. If you don't, I'll sit down. Out of my mind, but I made it out of my mind. I'm faded out of my mind. The ones I love have left my side out of my mind. But I made it, yeah.
That was the Arcs with Out of My Mind. And I've got to confess that the next piece is utterly without redeeming social importance. It's the last song on the show, but I have to play it because the band are called Brigitte and the Fire Strings. What a great name.
Waarom vertrouw je mij niet meer? Geloof jij je vrienden keer op keer? Vertel me gauw, hoe komt dat nou? Na die jaren controle, na die jaren controle. Waarom vertrouw je mij niet meer? Geloof jij je vrienden keer op keer? Waarom geloof jij toch die praatjes dat ik van een ander hou? Geloof toch niet je vrienden, want ik was je nooit ontrouw.
That was Dutch band Brigitte and the Firestings with Waarom vertrouw je niet yet? That's my Dutch accent. Oh, it's got meer at the end of it, which translates as Why don't you trust me anymore? You're listening to Radio Lewis, where the music matters. I'm Nick Cooper. Thank you very much for listening to the Slightly Different Radio Show. I did wash my hands thoroughly before each piece of music. Stay safe and healthy. Goodbye.
Radio Lewis. Local community webcasting.